So you have managed to finish the first year of your engineering studies. Well, congratulations. I can't really clap hands for you, so let's pretend these people at the Oscars are clapping for you. Well done, guys. Well done. Oh, by the way, is that Eddie Redmayne? That guy was exceptional in the Day of the Jackal. Okay, I'm getting off track here. Take note of these steps and you'll be off to a great engineering career start. Okay, so you've done all your part 1 modules, including modules such as Introduction to Electric Principles. So now is the time to apply that theoretical knowledge into building practical stuff, which gets me to the first two, then the Arduino. Oh, but Nyasha, Arduino is used by kids to build stupid projects. No, guys. The kids and they do not learn the principles that build the Arduino, right? As an engineering student, you have to learn stuff like combining the Arduino and the motor drive, because the projects might get messy. Suppose you want to build an autonomous robot, it might get quite messy to use a separate Arduino and an L298N motor drive. So as an engineering student, your job now is to combine the Arduino and the motor drive on a single board, right? So that's the first two, the Arduino. I'm going to show you a list of websites where you can learn the Arduino without the need to buy it. Okay, first we have Tinkercad. So Tinkercad offers quite a range of services, but since this video is about the Arduino, we're going to talk about circuit building using Arduino. So as you can see on my screen now, we have the Arduino, we have an LED and a resistor, right? So what's good about an Arduino is that what's good about Tinkercad is that it will simulate the real world conditions. Let's try to connect this LED directly to the Arduino board without a resistor, right? So let me connect this to ground and start simulation. Okay, as you can see, current through LED is 438 milliamps. The absolute maximum is 20 milliamps. So the LED is blowing out, right, which would happen in a real world scenario. So what do we do? Add a resistor, right? Let's add this resistor, 1 kilo ohm. It's too much, but okay, this nicely done. Okay, as you can see, due to the much resistance of this resistor, the brightness has gone down, but it's lighting, guys. So it right. I stop the simulation, storage. Okay, so our next website is Walkwi. Walkwi is quite cool. I've seen they all have the boards like the ESP32 and the likes. Let's try to play this. What was happening here? Let's try to simulate. Welcome. Arduino save. Oh, just save. And then you code and 2 4. Oh. 4. Did you see that, guys? It's illustrating a save. Suppose this servo would be attached to a metal rod or something that moves forward and backward. Isn't it cool? So what happens if I press any other video? Sorry, any other digit? Okay. Wow. How many lines of code they write on this program? Yeah, I can see now. But nowadays, guys, if you really know how to code the Arduino, right, you can actually leverage ChatGPT to write this for you, right? That is if you know. Don't want people who just use ChatGPT or they have no idea. If you encounter an error, yeah, that would be pretty quite hard to debug, right? And finally, we have Proteus, right? So Proteus is quite cool. As you can see on my screen, this is the Arduino Mega. Proteus is quite cool in the sense that you can add other components, right? Suppose you do not enjoy the Arduino board, which is in the Proteus libraries, right? You might also design yours, right? And maybe sell it for potential income. So yeah, these are the two websites and one software you can use to learn the Arduino. Okay, so the second skill is learn Python, guys. Yeah, you have done Python in your first year, in your introduction to programming. But let's be honest, guys. You're only writing print 3 plus 5, writing basic for loops, for I in range 3, print I, such basic stuff like. But you now have to apply that knowledge into building tangible projects. Right? Suppose if I were to ask you to build an application to detect faces, you do that? Yeah, you might, because there's ChatGPT. But if ChatGPT provided the bug code, you're able to debug it. No. So those are the kind of skills I'm talking about when I say learn Python. Now you have to learn Python. Why your body mind so isn't it? It's a little bit weird. But yeah, so learn Python to build real stuff, guys. And as for me, if you're interested in robotic stuff, okay, let me show you the kind of projects I'm talking about. Okay guys, as for me, for when I'm writing my Python code, I like to use Tony. Tony is quite simple, it's quite small. For example, when we were introduced to Python in university, right, they instructed us to download PyCharm. But back then I had a small laptop, a dual core, so I looked for alternatives. That's when I discovered Tony. Okay, without further ado, the kind of projects I'm talking about. This was a plant disease detection, right? I used PyTorch and Hilo V5, right? So this is the model I trained. Currently I'm using the best.pt. I prefer the last.pt, right? So let's try to play this. Okay, it might take some time to load, so I'm going to show you when it has finished loading. Okay, so as you can see, this is the GUI of the app. You can select an image. Okay, so this is actually bacterial blight, right? But I can see the PyTorch model I trained wasn't that accurate. So see, I can clear the image, I can select another image, right? So this is how it works. Still again, yeah, this model is quite bad. Again, I might have to retrain these guys. Not working. Oh, detected this one, bacterial blight. Wow. Okay, anyway, these are the kind of projects I do. I really like to do stuff that includes detection of some sort. So yeah, check Tony out and tell me what you think. Okay, so now the last skill is a engineering student who has just completed his first year. Master your CAD modeling. Okay, so if you are currently learning at the University of Zimbabwe, you have learned AutoCAD, right? But as a mechanical engineering student, I do not think it will suffice. Yeah, there are gurus on the internet who can model turbines, etc. using AutoCAD, but I'm not that guru. So I decided to choose SolidWorks. In part 2, we learned computer-aided three-dimensional interactive application, or as you might know it, CATIA. But when I tried to install it, it gave me problems, right? I know those guys who use fake files, right? So that's when I changed to SolidWorks. And surprisingly, I love SolidWorks, guys. So you have to learn SolidWorks, right? Okay, as an engineer, you have to know that there's a difference between producing CAD models and designing for manufacturing. There's a difference between just modeling and designing for manufacture or designing for assembly. You might be designing impressive parts, but when you send them to the manufacturer, you might laugh and say, but this thing can't be produced, right? But at your stage, just learn how to model stuff. Let me show you the kind of projects I have worked in SolidWorks, and I've also transferred those models to applications such as Simscape. I'm talking about MATLAB or ANSYS, right? Okay, so this was a robotic arm I designed in SolidWorks. It's quite simple, you can see, and it contains simple maths, coincident, mostly coincidence and concentric. Why? Because I wanted to transfer the model to Simscape. So let's check how it came out in MATLAB. Okay, so here is the Simulink module. The inverse kinematics blocks, as you can see, they are used to convert the position to angle, and forward kinematics does the opposite, right? So when you play this, okay, again, since it's taking a long time to compile, I'm going to show you when it is finished loading. As you can see, the robotic arm is moving and it's following the commands I gave it. Okay, so it's following the commands I gave to the inverse kinematics block. The commands for X, Y, and Z, it's oscillating, they are sine waves, you can see. So that's why it's behaving like this, you see, right? So yeah, that's how I interface SolidWorks and Simulink. This is not a skill as such, but the most important thing, internships. Try to find any local companies where you can intern it. Intern it. Got that right? Okay, so try to find local companies where you can intern it. Suppose you are interested in, what can I say, manufacturing stuff. In Zimbabwe, lots of companies, small companies are into manufacturing stuff, right? And there's a mechanical engineering student or something across those lines, you might volunteer to produce 3D models and such. They might give you a minimum wage, but as someone who is in the early age of engineering, don't focus on money, focus on experience. I had to listen from a guy who hasn't found a job, right? Yeah, I know, but that's the truth, guys. It really helped me to master those skills which are essential for one to graduate while knowing the particular skills. So for me, I intended Natural Electronics. So Natural Electronics does a lot of stuff. You can check them out. And I was in charge of designing PCB boards and 3D printing them. So that's where I learned about 3D printing. You see? So just try to do an internship during a holiday. Don't rest. Okay, so that's a wrap, guys. You have reached the end of the video. And please, guys, click that subscribe button and like, and also don't forget to share. Thank you.